You're listening
to the CD Baby
CD Baby
DIY
Musician
Podcast.
Hey there, and welcome to episode number 107 of the CD Baby DIY Musician Podcast. My name is Kevin, and joining me for this Roundtable edition is the Bolt. And look who's here, Chris. Thanks for joining us.
I still work here. For anyone that was concerned,
made it back.
We got so many letters.
I know you did. And
What happened to Chris?
It's nice to be missed.
Yeah, where were you?
Well, let's see. The first time I was home visiting family on the East Coast, I think, and
That's
I got
right, you were snowed in. That's right.
I got stuck there for like 9 extra days, and then I don't remember where I was the last time, but
Oh, I remember. You had to take a break to do your poetry homework.
I did. Yes, I did. I had a half-hour
They
presentation.
think I made that up, but I'm serious.
No,
I thought you were doing music stuff.
well, I was doing some music stuff.
Oh, okay.
But poetry homework, I had a 30-minute presentation I had to give.
Oh, wow.
And I thought, with a full-time job and a band and taking a college course, I should just take a day off and
Yeah, why not? Take
do
the
my
day
homework.
off.
Yep.
So, anyways, I'm here. I still work here.
And I have to say, we say a lot of things about the life as a musician on this show, but I have to say that a couple weekends ago, you came in here beaming, having the best weekend ever, pretty much. No, I don't know if it was ever, but you were so excited about the shows you played. They were so good.
They were so great, and we sold a bunch of CDs, and I got asked out on some dates, and
Living the life, the rock star, living the dream.
everything that you got into music for.
That's the goal, right?
Yeah.
That very same weekend, my band Hello Morning played, and
No dates?
No, sadly, all of us are married with kids, I think. Anyway, we'll move on. But there's a video that you need to see. Our other guitar player on the last song got a little over the top. The spirit of rock and roll took over, and he ended up, unknowingly at the time, swinging his guitar right at the last big drum hit, whacking our lead singer on the head, and we got it all on video. But
Ouch.
how it went down was, we had this big rock and roll ending, and I'm putting my guitar down, and Henry, our lead singer, just kind of drifts off the back of the stage, past the drummer, and there was no backstage back there. There was a curtain. It's like an old movie theater. There's a curtain, but it doesn't go anywhere. And even on the video, you hear someone yelling, "Henry, get out of the curtain!" And Peter, our drummer, and I went to the backstage room on the side of the stage, and there was no lights on. It was pitch black. And Henry opens the side door off the stage and was like, "Guys, I need some help." And I thought it was just because he couldn't see the stairs, and there wasn't really a staircase there. There was like a box. And so we're walking around trying to find lights. We finally find a light switch, and we turn it on, and there's this blood pouring out of his head. It was pretty gruesome.
Now, I've been on stage with you guys before for that song at the end, and I've had to dodge a few guitar heads swinging my way.
This was the worst I've seen it, or the craziest. He actually told us he was going to tone it down for the next couple shows. In fact, he mentioned, maybe we don't even play that song. I think he felt really bad. The funny thing is, the guitar player is a paramedic. And should also note, he did not rush over to help Henry.
Oh, man.
Well, the first I saw of it was a picture of Henry's extremely blood. You're not exaggerating at all. There was blood covering his face, his whole face. I saw that on Facebook. I said, I bet Sims hit him in the head with the guitar.
It's
and then I saw the video to prove it.
We had somebody down front who was videoing the whole show, and they got it. You don't have to look just right. It's plain as day, and I edited the video together, and it was pretty brutal. I saw 50 times. I'm like, I can't look at this anymore. We'll post a link on the podcast page for you to check it out. It's worth a
Gratuitous
view.
violence.
But of course, Henry's standing there all bloody, and there weren't any rags laying around or anything. So of course, I took out my camera and took a picture, and he had a few choice words for me at that moment. But I think he was happy I did later on because everybody was talking about it, and
He wanted proof of the battle scars.
It was funny, but
violence sells almost as much as sex.
yeah. So hopefully it doesn't ever happen again, but it made for a good video, and we'll link to it. Yeah, other than that, lots been going on. The Bolton. you finishing your album?
Yeah, I'm working on. I know I always say this. Yeah, I'm working on it. But I did contact a mastering dude to get it mastered, and he's supposed to be getting back to me. I'm making steps forward.
That's good. We've got our release show coming up, so there's all sorts of details going on. Preparing for that. Actually here at CD Baby, it's been busy. Might as well say we're getting ready to move the offices. It's still like a month out, but I know how people listen to this podcast, when they get around to it, and sometimes people are like a month behind. So yeah, we're getting ready to move. So if you're listening to this and you happen to be driving over to our place, you might want to check the address on the website before you come over. We're just moving a couple miles down the road to a nicer place, but
and we've been here for what, like 11 years?
Yeah, a long time.
Well, the rumor is we'll have a room to use just for podcasting, right?
That's the rumor. I'll believe it when I see it. So yeah, lots of things going on here, and a little teaser for what's coming up in the show. We got a pretty cool contest we came up with that where you can win prizes.
Real valuable
prizes
that musicians can use.
That's right. That's coming up after the news, so you'll have to hang on with us through that. With that being said, let's get into news.
CD Baby.
CD Baby. Music.
It's been an exciting week here for Host Baby, which is our web hosting company here at CD Baby, as Host Baby officially launched the new Host Baby Site Builder. The new Site Builder system allows users to customize just about every aspect of their website template, or their choices are basically only limited by their imagination. The best part is that it's all done right on the site itself with the on-site theme editor, so you don't need to know anything about HTML or coding. And this is a huge leap forward for Host Baby, and you can try it for free at hostbaby.com. Facebook has started rolling out its new page layouts for brand pages. So if you have an artist Facebook page, this will affect you. One of the main benefits to the new format is that you can now post as your band on other profiles through Facebook. Previously, any post you made on another Facebook page would show up as your personal profile. RightsFlow announced an agreement with YouTube to assist with music rights management. YouTube will use RightsFlow to help process and manage some of the complex bundle of rights attached to any music video, as well as who controls it and should get paid. Hopefully this is a big step towards helping clarify some of the rights issues that surround posting videos on YouTube. And lastly, Activision has decided to discontinue the production of the hit video game series Guitar Hero that allows gamers to play a fake guitar to all their favorite rock songs. The company cites declining sales as the reason they will not produce any more games. To date, they have released 12 versions of Guitar Hero.
So musicians have to go back to learning how to play real instruments again.
Bummer.
What about Rock Band?
Rock Band's still around, but Guitar Hero, they didn't really have any details about why they were, besides the decline in sales, but I have a feeling that it is a major pain to clear the rights to those songs, and they probably shell out a lot of cash, and it just may not be something that they feel is worthwhile to keep continuing. And there's only so many big names, we've talked about that there's not as many superstars anymore. There's only so many big names that you can use to sell that product, like Aerosmith, Guitar Hero. I think they did. Did they do Guitar Hero or Rock Band? I don't remember. They had they had. I know they had a Van Halen one because I was looking at the list, and so there's only so many names like that with guitars that are going to sell stuff. So I can see why, but so that's discontinuing. But exciting week here with Host Baby officially announcing the new site builder.
Yeah, it's been really exciting. Host Baby is sort of my area of expertise because I've been working for them for a while, and they've been working really hard to develop this new site builder, and it's great. The sites that we've seen clients build are just beautiful, and they're dynamic, and the designs are really flexible. It's great. I feel like we've really kicked it up a notch. Really excited about the product and what our developers have been able to do. For our musicians.
I think it's a great step forward for Host Baby. If you're not familiar with Host Baby in the past, some of the templates were pretty limited. What you could do, you could tweak them out if you knew some coding and things, but these ones are pretty amazing. It's just like this site on-site editor that sits over your site when you're logged in, and you can change just about anything. So that even if you kind of like a template, you can pretty much tweak everything about it. And it has widgets like WordPress, and you can drop HTML codes into those widgets and pretty much do whatever you want.
And I know I work here and everything, so I'm biased, but you guys had me test out a site and build one just for feedback, and I liked it so much that I'm kind of in the process of moving everything from my existing site over to that, and I'm probably going to leave WordPress and use Host Baby.
We should also mention that you get 5 free submissions to CD Baby every year if you're using Host Baby. So it's a cool benefit that you get. That includes single songs or full albums. So if you're releasing singles throughout the year and a full album, that's all covered. So yeah, check that out. We're excited about it. Moving on to the Facebook update. This is all something that I know the three of us have all been messing with, and I know people get upset every time Facebook changes something. And I understand because their user interface is not that great to begin with. It's really difficult to figure out where buttons are and how you edit things, especially band pages. So this involves the band pages. I said in the news brands, because like any brand like CD Baby has our page up there. Anything that's not a personal profile, which is what they call individuals' Facebook pages, this affects that. So any sort of music site. But there's some cool features to it. At first I was like, not again, but there's some cool features that make it worthwhile that we've all been kind of messing with.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I mean, the best thing about it is that you can basically cloak yourself as a Facebook user, and you can comment on other people's statuses. You can it makes being a brand or a band much more like being a Facebook user, and it gives you the same ability that a Facebook user would normally have. You can like things and comment on things and post things without sort of. I'm sure people out there with Facebook pages have experienced this. You're trying to interact as a band, and suddenly you realize you're posting as your own personal.
Right. And one thing for me is in trying to interact with so many other bands and bookers and clubs and stuff out there, inevitably I've ended up having to friend them all from my personal profile. And now, not that I don't want to be, acquaintances with them, but I'm getting to the point where I've just got like 800 Facebook friends. I don't know what to do with, but now I can sort of contain it all, keep it business related. It's all.
Yeah, well, and Facebook for me is it's a largely a way for my family to communicate with each other, and so I don't necessarily want my professional contacts all to know what my mom just said to me.
Yeah. So a perfect example would be a band situation. Commenting on other people's sites, like say an artist or say some fans like post links to your music on their pages, and you want to say thank you.
Yeah.
Instead of it being the band, it would be like Kevin, and they're like, "Who's Kevin?" They may not know who I am, or I have to friend them first in order to be able to comment. So this allows people to comment as the band and do other interactions as the band. And there's just a little link. This is the part that could trip people up. There's a link on the page that says use Facebook as, like in my case, Hello Morning. So I click on that, and now whatever I do in Facebook, it's gonna say I'm Hello Morning until I go back to that same page, our Hello Morning page, and click the link again, and it'll say for me use Facebook as Kevin.
Yeah.
So that's what you need to do, but it has a lot of benefits to it that I think are going to help people promote music. One thing I did with it today that's always been a frustration is once you create an event in Facebook, when you first create that event, if it's, for your band, it'll show up in your feed, but after that you have no way to put it back in your feed. But now, as the way they have it set up, I can go to that event and be using Facebook as Hello Morning and click share that event again, and it'll just go back down my feed. So I don't have to send out emails. They have the update thing, update your followers, but that just goes into I don't even know why they have that, because that goes into some subsection of the email program that no one looks at. So it's so much more beneficial for promoting shows and just interacting with fans, and so it's not this disconnect from individuals to a band. And like Chris was saying, I think it's going to be a big benefit for solo artists or people using their actual name to be able to differentiate the two profiles better and have the business one, the music business one, be solely for that, and their personal one can easily stay personal.
One thing I've noticed monitoring CD Baby's Facebook page too, and this would be a benefit for any band that has a ton of interaction on their page, is basically when you select to, what does it say, use Facebook as band name, all of a sudden you've got your notifications and your new what's normally friends for the personal profile and now says likes, but you get a new update of that every time you log in as that, so you can say, 30 people commented, let me just go right to those. Before you had to just scroll endlessly down and up your page to find new stuff.
Yeah, I think it's one of the best updates Facebook has made in a long time. It's been one of those major disconnects for me that's made Facebook not quite as good as it could be, and I think this is a step in the right direction. So you can give us some feedback, tell us if you like it or hate it. I know you posted on the CD Baby Facebook page asking artists if they liked it or hated it, and it's always a mixed bag.
When you ask any question online, it's always 50-50.
It is.
You could ask people, do you really like oxygen? People would be like, I hate that I have to breathe.
Right.
It's a waste of time.
People like to be antagonistic. So.
Yes, they do. All right. Well, we mentioned at the top of the show that we are doing a contest and that we want your participation. So we are going to be giving away multiple prizes, but the contest is this. We want you to submit your best music career story. I guess that's what we're going to call it, music career story. It could be a funny road story. It could be a mistake story. It can be anything that you want to share about your career that has some sort of entertainment value. And we are going to collect the best groupings of these stories, and we're going to pick some winners. And the first prize is going to win it's a CD duplication package from CD Baby Duplication, and we'll throw in there a sign up to CD Baby as well. They'll get your music on our site and on iTunes and all the other places. And then we'll pick a couple runner-ups that will get some CD Baby sign-ups. And hey, we've got these podcast shirts that have been sitting here forever. We're getting ready to move here, so maybe we can give them. They're still perfectly brand new. And shirts, maybe I should throw some of those in as well. So yeah, we just wanted to do something fun, and they told us we could give away a CD duplication package. It's full color on disc printing and everything. It's like $178 value. So if you've got an album release coming up, this would be perfect for you. And so yeah, the music career stories, and I gotta stress, doesn't have to be funny, but it has to have entertainment value. And that could be like, we could all be bawling at the end of your story and it's just a tearjerker. That's considered entertainment value. It just can't be the hard drive crashed. That's my story,
Well, we've talked a lot on the podcast about how important a story is to your music career. This doesn't have to be the defining story of your music career, but telling a good story is what grabs people's attention and what makes people remember you. And it's an important skill to have as a musician, so you'll be practicing when you submit for this contest.
And a lot of times, though, these types of stories maybe are the things that you want the press and the world to know the least about because it's so embarrassing. But you're in good company.
Yeah.
You're in safe hands with us.
That's right.
You can tell us anything.
That's right. But echoing what you said, Bolton, I like the idea of it being something that needs to be practiced because it's true. it's kind of funny. My wife would get mad at me if she heard me say this. But, all the years touring with Small Town Poets, I had some hilarious road stories. And we'd be places, and talking to people when I wasn't on the road, and she would say, "Oh, you should tell them the story about this," and then she would try and tell the story and just totally botch it, and everyone's kind of like looking at us. But if you take the same story and tell it properly and with the details and knowing what's kind of highlighting it and leading up to it, it has a big payoff. And it's something that it's an art form, and that's something that a part of marketing as artists, are trying to promote themselves, is a good skill to have, and just as a musician in general, being able to tell a good story and know the details that make something interesting to people, and knowing things that just aren't interesting is good to be able to learn. So yeah, your music career story. We'll take submissions in the form of phone calls. You can call our listener line at 206-426-5683. We'll take them in emails at info@cdbabypodcast.com. Or if you wanted to submit a YouTube video, if you make a video, we would do that, take that submission as well, and blast that out to people, and maybe get you some extra publicity for your video. There's benefits to each of those formats. The phone call, just try to know what you're going to say before you get on there. Don't ramble on the phone line. That'll lessen your chances of winning or getting included in the podcast. And email, we've had some great people submit stories through email over the years. So,
did you say when this contest closes?
Oh, good point. We are going to take these submissions until March 1st. So March 1st is the deadline. You got to
2011.
2011, yes. March 1st, 2011 is the deadline. And after that point, you missed it. So get on it. I know it's kind of a tight window, seeing that, from when this podcast posts, which should be Valentine's Day, February 14th, that's only 2 weeks. I know a lot of people still email me that they're, working their way through and they're on episode 80, So as soon as you hear this, don't wait around, just get on it. And you could have the duplication for your next album taken care of.
And don't think that there's going to be 1,000 submissions, because there aren't.
Yeah, there aren't.
Your chances are pretty good if you submit a story.
Yes. You're probably thinking that we get buried under, 10,000 letters, emails, and phone messages each week. Not so. We'll look behind the curtain. It's not the case. We could have 3 people submit and all 3 people win. So your chances of winning are good. So, all right. Well, we're going to start off the next section by playing a phone call. They have ask a question. There's several things going on in the CD Baby world and our personal lives collectively that I thought it was fitting for the call to open up the segment, and we'll discuss.
Hello, CD Baby Podcast. My name is Nathan. I'm calling from Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania, and I'm calling to ask about cover bands and tribute bands. What is the difference between a cover band and tribute band, and when putting one together, what kind of legal issues do you need to be aware of? I have what I think is a really good idea for my area to start a tribute band based on a very, very popular 1960s and 70s British progressive rock band. Not going to say exactly who it is, but you guys will be able to figure it out. Somebody with a great wall of a music career. And my personal favorites, my heroes, and I would love to put together either a tribute or cover band to pay homage to them. So if you guys could give me your input, I'd appreciate it. Thanks, and thanks for all your podcasts. They're very informative. Bye.
Well, thanks for the call, Nathan. And why I thought this was very timely is because Chris this weekend is playing a cover 80s cover night that they do every year here in Portland. It's very popular, called Cover Your Hearts. Mm-hmm. It coincides with Valentine's Day and raising money for a charity. And you also wrote a couple articles, or reposted and commented on a couple articles on our blog this past couple weeks about the benefits of doing covers and the artists making a case against doing covers. And so I just thought it was very timely.
Yeah. We should say that I'm sure the caller, Roger Waters, would be happy to collect his money.
It is an interesting question, though, because first off, Nathan, to answer the first portion of it, a tribute band is usually a band that dresses up like the band and plays,
It's
Sort of
like just one
exclusively
band.
the music of one band.
Yeah, exclusively the music of one band. And there's some people that have made careers out of doing that. There's a group called Led Zeppelin that even tours, and they've got albums here with CD Baby.
There's more closer to his concern would be the Australian Pink Floyd, which is amazing. And there's, what's that other band? Welcome to the Machine, I think.
Yeah, and so it's kind of, I think, something that's can be really interesting if it's well done. I know there's a U2 tribute band that tours nationally and is pretty well known. And so that would be the difference. A tribute band is somebody that they're kind of trying to look like them and sound just like them. Where a cover band could be anything like, just playing covers in a bar because they require you to play covers and it's just random pop songs, or
Like a wedding band is usually a cover band.
Yeah, a wedding band.
Yeah, you're playing multiple artists.
You're just playing songs people know.
Could be any style.
Yeah.
I was thinking, just sort of like legally speaking, that a cover band probably doesn't need to worry about it because the venue should be paying the performance royalties to ASCAP and BMI. But a tribute band, I don't know, because they're basically taking on a certain identity or like a trademark or logos. If they start mixing, what do you call it, imagery of that band into your own marketing.
Yeah, and we've seen that happen for people here at CD Baby and Be an Issue. A while back, this was a couple years ago, it was when we started speculating that the Beatles were going to release their catalog in iTunes very soon, because they went through and had Apple remove everything that had the name The Beatles in the title. It ended up not being a precursor to putting the catalog out, or at least if it was, a very early move. But so those are issues you can come up against. I think even that group Led Zeppelin ran into some issues, because if you're using part of the name and you're actually starting to get some notoriety and actually releasing records with, a name that's similar, and you're doing their music as a tribute band, it can be a bit of a problem. I don't think you're going to run into problems playing live, but you're still legally allowed to record those songs. It's just if you're recording those songs and in a way that people may think you're trying to infringe on that trademark of that band, where you're trying to fool people into thinking that you really are this band. And I know with Led Zeppelin and the Led Zeppelin guys, it was because Led Zeppelin's catalog is still not in iTunes. And so that was part of the issue, that they wanted it removed. But I think they got that worked out. That was a few years back also. So that's some things that might come up.
Yeah, if you named your cover band, Pink Floyd
Junior.
Pink Floyd Junior or something like that, it could both benefit or hurt you. I mean, I would say it's a little bit dangerous because, one, you could end up in a catalog, like if you distribute your music to iTunes or something like that, where people are sort of mistakenly purchasing your album thinking it was the real thing. But that could also hurt you if they're upset about their purchase, or if the owner of the catalog, the retailer, decides to yank you because you're getting sales unfairly.
One thing I was thinking, very specifically, because I had a couple years ago went to see the Australian Pink Floyd. Their show was amazing. They put on a similar kind of light show as Pink Floyd did. They contacted the band or the band's management early on and brokered some kind of deal, because they had all of the visual images that Pink Floyd has used throughout the years, the clocks for time and stuff from the wall, and they played it as if they were the band and they had access to all of the band's sort of visual resources. So I'm sure they must be splitting, or I'm not sure how the money worked, but they cut a deal early on.
Yeah, and a lot of the legal issues that you'll run into are more from like the catalog owners. A lot of times the artists find it flattering, and they just want to make sure that nothing is happening that kind of puts them in a bad light. And I know for a fact that the group Led Zepp, again, because I've talked to their guy multiple times, was in contact with Led Zeppelin's management, and there was a lot of understanding. It wasn't like they didn't know each other. It got to a point where they needed to make contact and work things out. But yeah, that's always a possibility if it starts to take off a little bit, that you might want to reach out to them, and they may be able to offer you some resources that you would have assumed would not be available, especially somebody like Pink Floyd that's probably not going to tour anymore. For them, it kind of keeps their catalog fresh, and it's almost like they're touring, but they're not.
Well, and this band, well, it was funny, they sell CDs of their performances of Pink Floyd songs, and people were buying it. I was thinking, this is so weird. Like, wouldn't you just go and buy Pink Floyd's version of Dark Side of the Moon or Animals or whatever? But the people really enjoyed this particular show and these people playing that catalog, and so then again, Pink Floyd's having yet another opportunity to sell their music, in which they're making most of the money off of. Mm-hmm. So
another thing I would recommend for cover bands, I often get this question over at Host Baby, because cover bands will sign up and then they'll be concerned about publishing music samples on their website. And there wasn't really, I didn't always have a solid answer for them, because you do owe minuscule royalties on plays online, but it's very hard to basically get that licensed, you're as a cover band. But what I've been recommending is people just use YouTube, like as a cover band, like YouTube basically covers your behind for royalties. So, use YouTube to post your cover songs, and you don't really have to worry about the repercussions.
Yeah. We have had some artists run into issues with YouTube, but I think pretty much for the most part you're safe unless you're getting a lot of plays or it's somebody who's just being real nitpicky with their catalog. But, if you post them directly to your website, the chances of them reaching out to you directly are pretty
right, unless
rare.
You're getting a ton of attention.
Yeah, unless you're getting a name for yourself. If they do, all I would say is we're happy to pay. Just let us know how much. And
they'll be like, give me my 15.2 cents.
Yeah, they don't have time to mess with that. So, it is an interesting thing to consider. I know that we always encourage people that doing a cover song can be a great way for you to latch on to an audience that might be searching for music online or just live. It's a way to capture people's attention with a song they're familiar with, and then they suddenly like more of your music. And but Chris, those articles that you posted about the cover song, what were they called exactly?
Well, one was the pros of let's see, there was basically the pros and cons of playing cover songs.
And this is on the DIY Musician blog at diymusician.cdbaby.com.
So there was broken up. One was the pros, one was the cons. But it was written from the perspective of someone who makes most of their money in music by playing cover songs, cover gigs that are almost exclusively other people's music. But this person is also someone who wants to make original music, and they have maybe either separate gigs where they do that, or they throw some of their original songs into the longer cover song set. So yeah, it's an interesting debate. I mean, there's lots of pros and cons. And
what were some of the pros?
Well, the pros are it's easy. If you're a decent musician, it's easy to make money that way. You've got a sort of built-in audience because you're playing familiar music. The other thing is, in having to learn, potentially hundreds and hundreds of popular songs, you're either consciously or subconsciously learning craft of songwriting, and you're kind of figuring out the little tricks that these people have used, so potentially your own skills will get better as a writer. It's easy to test out. This guy's argument was, if he throws a few of his newer songs into a longer cover song set, he can test out how they're doing and see if the people's reactions are sort of like, or, oh, we like that too, we'll clap along as if it's Van Morrison or something. So there are definitely pros. The cons, people that make original music that also play covers worry that they're diminishing their brand or sort of confusing their brand, so that if they went to go play an original set of music whoever's in that town to be like, oh, you're the cover song guy. We just want to hear you sing Brown Eyed Girl. Screw this original music. Not to mention that you're taking a huge amount of like time and energy away from pursuing your own music exclusively.
Yeah, it seems like if you were going to pursue being a cover band, that if you were wanting to do original music, in my mind, it seems like you might have to have like two separate careers they're both in music, but they're not related to each other.
You just want to brand them differently, you know? Like, I mean, even if it's the same people.
Well, that goes along with one of the pros that this guy's name is Dan Fisk was talking about, where he has a mailing list because people love his cover songs. He does sort of slightly skewed or original versions of non-original music. So people sign up for his list left and right, and he's getting all these email names that he wants to apply to his, in a way he's building his fan base, only it's not exactly for his music.
Right.
Well, that's kind of an interesting idea. I mean, I think if you're looking at it that way, that you're kind of infusing some of your own personality and musical abilities into how you do the cover song, that they get sort of kind of the idea of, your original music, even though it's not your original music. And then you're able to get those names and build the following, you have to just kind of be somewhat careful, I guess, how you market that to them and communicate, just so it's not like they're randomly getting emails about your music, but kind of tying the two together. That could be beneficial. I know with a band, to me, it would be tough. I wish Hello Morning would do a cover song or two. We've got some naysayers in the group. Actually, we thought of a really hilarious one that would be awesome to do. I'm not going to spoil it, but I think it may have convinced a couple of the naysayers, because it would be so funny and cool at the same time. But I wouldn't mind doing a couple cover songs in our set, but I wouldn't want to take Hello Morning and be like the wedding band, unless it was for like a friend's wedding where it was kind of, cool that this band was doing the music and doing all covers. But I've been very interested, actually, as a musician, in joining that kind of group that just does that, like you're saying, to get build my guitar playing and songwriting abilities just by playing all these different songs.
And chances are you'll make more
Make more money,
a lot more money, or at least easier money.
Yeah. So it's an interesting thing. We'd love to hear from you if you have any thoughts on the matter. If you got a tribute band and have some thoughts and experiences you'd like to share, we'd love to hear about that. And also, if you've been doing covers and any thoughts on the pros and cons of doing cover songs, we'd love to hear what you have to say. You can call us at 206-426-5683 or email us at info@cdbabypodcast.com. Share your stories with us, and we'll use them on the show. And if you have a good story, very entertaining story going along with being a tribute band, which I would assume there could be some really good ones.
Yeah.
And then that might just win you the prize.
I went home with the guy who plays Slash in the Guns N' Roses cover band.
It's funny you mentioned that, because one time I was watching TV late at night, and I was flipping through the channels, and Public Access was on. I didn't really know what channel I was on, but it's this band, and I'm like, is this some sort of old Guns N' Roses footage from them playing at a club? The band looked identical to them, and they sounded amazing. I mean, the guy that was playing Axl, I mean, just, when you're just sitting there not really paying attention, glancing at the station, you're like, what is this? And it was awesome. They played it better than some of the live Guns N' Roses footage I've seen, but it was pretty cool. And I have no idea who they are and who they were, but it was pretty cool.
I had
but I could see like a mistake, someone mistaking them for somebody else.
Oh, right.
Getting totally drunk and thinking it really is Slash or something like that.
I had one more comment just about my band's philosophy about cover songs, but this is coming from the point of view of me as a songwriter and us as a band that wants to make original music first and foremost. So, that's the bent. But basically what we do is, if we're putting on kind of like the 40 or 45-minute show where you're in with 2 or 3 other bands at a cool club, we just do all originals. We'll do, sort of a high energy, catchy original set. If it goes beyond 45 minutes and it's more like an hour and 15, where we're at the show is expected to be longer, we'll usually throw in one cover. If we have a long show where it's like 2 or 3 hours, then we actually kind of don't care. We'll do like 5 or 6 covers. And then I end up doing some more solo singer-songwriter kind of stuff too, or, a duo type setting, in which case I sort of have that same attitude. I'll do a bunch of covers. I don't mind, because I think I'm still billed as a songwriter. So everyone that's there sort of knows that's the primary thing. And then when I do these cover songs, it's like, oh, that's nice. We know that song. Cool.
And I think in that point, it actually helps you out if you're doing something like I know the kind of shows you're talking about where, you'll get booked for like 2 hours. It's some local places where people can be coming and going, but they also can be hanging out for the whole 2 hours. And but they're there to enjoy music. And it's a thing where I think throwing in some covers actually helps kind of, they're getting a taste for your music, and then it keeps them, for a longer set to keep focusing back over.
Right.
If they start tuning out because they don't know the songs, I think it really helps kind of refocus them back to the music and what's going on.
Mm-hmm.
So.
Yeah.
All right. Well, I love to hear everyone's thoughts and comments and phone calls on that. Again, you can call us at 206-426-5683 and email us at info@cdbabypodcast.com. We'll be looking for your stories for our music career story contest.
Yeah, get a free T-shirt or some free
Stuff,
duplication.
a date with the bolts.
Well, hey now.
And we'll catch you next time on what podcast is this?
This is The Moth.
Oh, The Moth, yeah.
On This American Life.
On This American Life. I'm Ira Glass. All right, we'll catch you next time on the DIY Musician Podcast. Bye.
Peace.
Bye.
You've been listening to the CD Baby DIY Musician Podcast, broadcasting from Portland, Oregon, USA.